Hello and welcome to the Daily Brown Bag. I'm Chad Hill, and today we're going to be talking about reposting your social media and how to get the most out of the content you're creating. I'm also joined by Adam Stetzer.
Yeah, good morning, Chad. This is an interesting topic. Everybody knows social media is gaining importance, and more we're hearing it's integrating with SEO and marketing and PR. And yet the volumes on social media are just astronomical. So we're talking today about how to get the most out of the content you create. And this is a favorite topic I know internally, Chad, among our team, because we spend a lot of time making great content, and we want to get the maximum amount of promotion out of it. So the idea here is, how do you put this content to work for you when the social media volumes are really just going through the roof? And so I want to cover a few of those numbers and then talk about strategy. According to Nielsen, the average adult is spending more than 5 hours online each day, which is really a startling number when you think about it. And in specific to social media, eMarketer has a study, and they broke it down by the different channels, and they're saying that the average number of hours per week on Facebook per adult is 6.8, 4.3 hours a week on G+, and 4.2 hours a week on Twitter. That's actually a little surprising to see that G+ has overtaken Twitter. And 75% of adults log into either Twitter or Facebook every single day. They've done some studies on where people spend their time in Facebook, and they find that it's 40% in their news feeds, and that I think is probably true also in Twitter. So there are people there, the audience is there, and you want to get in front of them, but I think the idea that anyone reads their entire feed is probably just out of the question because of the volumes. We know there's somewhere north of 500 million tweets every day going out. We've seen some higher numbers. We're not sure which one's accurate at this point. But I think the point is, so if you have this idea that you could make something great, Chad, and then tweet it once and someone's going to see it, that seems a little naive in today's volume. So then you start thinking, well, should I be retweeting, reposting, refacebooking, re-G+ing my content over and over again? But then at some point you start to feel like a spammer. So how can we help our marketing community out with some tips on how to do this well?
Yeah, and Adam, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. I think when I first started using Twitter, I felt like it was a little bit like in my inbox, where you had to kind of go through all the message, but you pretty quickly realized that if your objective is to look at every tweet that's in your feed, you're going to go crazy. So you sort of get this kind of fire hose approach, where it's like, I'm going to go in, get a little dose of Twitter, and then I'm going to leave. And I think that's how a lot of people use Twitter and other social media platforms. So let's talk about some tips. I think the first thing you have to think about is that we're conditioned to sort of be afraid of duplicate content. But because of this fire hose approach to all this content going through Twitter and other social media platforms, you do need to potentially retweet, to mention your content a few times to get maximum value out of it. So we have 5 tips today that we wanted to go through in terms of how we recommend doing that. Now the first one is to basically create unique posts and tweets. So if you're going to repost 3 or 4 times, don't actually just verbatim use exactly the same content. Every piece of content you create or thing you want to share has a couple different angles. Play with that. Rewrite a couple different headlines, different ways to share. So make sure you do have unique tweets and posts when you do reshare content. The second one is try different times. So if you're conditioned to always coming into the office, you're on the East Coast at 9 a.m. and you tweet your content, you're missing a whole audience out on the West Coast that maybe doesn't log into Twitter and look at what's going on until much later in the day. So do it at a couple different times. The third one is look at the relevance of your tweet and what else is going on contextually, because there's a good chance that a hot topic on one day might be different, might not be the same topic 2 or 3 days later, but the content you have could be relevant to that same topic, maybe again just a slightly different angle. So watch what's trending and see how you can get involved in the conversation, and maybe again refer back to a piece of content that you had previously posted, but you kind of are giving it new life because again it's a different angle you're using it in. The next one is engaging in your community. So again, when you don't want to be just a sharer of your own post. You want to retweet content, be an active member of the people that you're following, and providing good value to people who are following you. So you want to make sure that you're sharing other people's content, retweeting, and then again with the right mix, also posting your content and resharing it. So those are the 4 tips. Actually, I mentioned 5, but we have 4 that we wanted to share with you today. Adam, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it's interesting what you said, Chad, about this conditioned around duplicate content. That's certainly true for us coming from the SEO side of things, and everyone knows about duplicate content there. But I think there's a lot of people who don't come from that background, and they might be thinking, from the pure marketing standpoint, wait, what? Repetition is the key to advertising. We know that from years and years of consumer behavior research and radio ads and TV ads. So it is interesting to watch these two worlds collide a bit. I do think there's a happy medium, but I think the idea that you can only tweet one piece of content once is probably silly and probably a holdover from SEO. I think anyone in advertising would say, no, you want to hit these folks again and again. But I like your points, Chad. Try to do that with different headlines. Make sure it's mixed up with engagement. I mean, and recognize no one's reading your entire Twitter feed. There's just too much information. But if they're spaced out appropriately, different times of day, over a couple different days, or maybe you're once a day sending something out that's really good, you want to do it for 2 weeks as part of a campaign, but they're worded differently each time or have a different angle. I think there's lots of creative ways you can get the bigger bang for your buck through some repetition, but making sure you don't offend anyone who is super engaged, because you don't want to lose that engagement. Those are our thoughts. We'd be interested in yours. Please drop us a comment. Let us know a topic you'd like covered, and we hope you'll subscribe to our feed and come back and see our brown bag tomorrow.